I'm going to go ahead and start our recording, if that's okay. So welcome, Miss Nikki Moore.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to the
I made
relationship
it.
zone. You made it. You made it. So yeah, so we are I'm going to record this because I want to make sure I put this back up on YouTube. I'm streaming through Facebook right now. Unfortunately, I can't manage the audience as I can when I'm utilizing the other studio. So we're just going to kind of go with it. You know, I can't use as many of the questions as I typically have because I just, we're impromptu in it now. We had to change platforms. So everyone, please, please, please bear with me and be patient with us. So let's jump on into this. Nikki?
Yes, ma'am.
April is Sexual Assault and Awareness Month, and I felt that this was a really good time to discuss your book that you just released. And previously on my live, which was just about 20 minutes ago, I was going over some of the myths and some of the facts about sexual assault and abuse. And I don't know if you got a chance to, I know you were over there doing a lot of other things, but if you get a chance to go back and listen to the live, then you and I can talk later, really just kind of looking at the myths about sexual abuse. And one of the ones that I brought up over on the other side was a woman's attire, right? A woman wearing a certain thing, it means that she wants it. And we all know that that's not true. But we also have to look at intimate partners that can be predatory, and they can victimize their significant other because truthfully, no means no. And
Right.
then, of course, children that uh, do not have a voice in it or don't feel like they have a voice when adults um, take advantage of them, and they endure sexual assault and abuse, and they didn't ask for that. Doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter if they were quote unquote, as some say, fast. It doesn't matter that they came around Uncle whomever or
Mhm.
Aunt whomever, and they were overly affectionate. It doesn't mean that they're asking to be sexually assaulted. So I wanted to cover all of that because I kind of talked about all of those different myths and facts and so on and so forth, to include men being sexually assaulted as well. This is a fact. It happens to men as well. Um,
Correct. Mhm.
but with we've talked before, and we talked about abuse, and we talked about all sorts of abuse. And then you let me know that you completed your new book
Yes.
and all the things that that we have shared. You have
Mhm.
now completed a book centered around sexual abuse. And
Mhm.
what no better time, shall I say, to release this book than the month of April.
Mhm.
Let's talk a bit about that book, and let me commend you on the bravery and courage that you must
Thank
have
you.
to
Thank
be
you.
able to talk so transparently about something something that's so atrocious as sexual assault and abuse. So
Mhm.
I salute you for being brave enough to do that.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So let's dive in. What's the name of your book?
It's called Shh Don't Tell.
Yeah.
This is the book.
Yes. And now I look at the cover of the book and I see it
Mhm.
looks like a more mature person, and it looks like
Mhm.
a youthful person that they're talking to. So tell me
Correct.
why that cover?
That cover because when I went through what I went through, that's what I seen. That's what the person did to me. Like, shh, don't tell. And if
Yeah,
you tell, I'm gonna get you. I mean, with force. That get you was really with force. So that's what I seen, once
yeah,
I said, well, what am I gonna do with the cover? What am I gonna do? But I remember that scene from that person doing this to me.
yeah.
So that's why that's this cover.
Wow. And it's a powerful cover when I look at it and I see the dominance in the adult figure,
Mhm.
and the child being, of course, in more of a vulnerable position on the cover.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so if there's anything that you aren't comfortable talking about, just let me know, and I respect that. However, I know the book details a lot of your own personal experience. So
Correct.
if you don't mind, I mean, what brought this transparency about?
Well, I've talked to a lot. I mean, when I say I've talked to a lot of people on totally all kinds of subjects since I've been writing these books, because I want to share, my life in, I would say, my mistakes, and my life, the things that happen in my life. In order to help other people, and to let them know that, with the strength of God's help and everything, we can make it through these trials and what we go through, the childhood hurts and everything. And just talking with some women who have been through this themselves, and how they have come to me and say, I'm so glad you wrote this book, because you share a lot of things that I went through. And just because I see this book and what you wrote in it, it helps me, and it's like a healing for me to know that, I'm going to be okay if I, do the things that I need to do, like do the steps of going to counseling or whatever. And I thought I was over it.
Yeah.
I even had one lady tell me that I thought I was over it, but when you wrote this book and I read the book, she said I cried through the whole thing, and I just know that I still had a wound there that
Oh,
was still there. And I'm so glad that you did this. So, and these are the reasons that I do this. So now she's going to get help, because
yeah.
now she had that wound that she thought was closed and healed. It really wasn't. And she said it wasn't because I read your book that it reopened that wound. It was already there, and I just had to deal with it. So this is why I did the book, just to help other
Right.
people.
Yeah, reading, and I appreciate that. I can really appreciate the purpose behind it. Um the childhood wounds that one endures after being sexually assaulted, it's sometimes it's unexplainable. It's hard to comprehend for some people. Um but I think some of us carry those wounds, that baggage. We're 30, 20, 50, 60. And
Mhm.
even when we think we're suppressing it, or we think that we're managing it, it actually is managing us sometimes. And whether that
Mhm.
shows up in avoidance, whether it shows up in broken relationships, whether it shows up in acting out, promiscuity, it can be so many ways that it shows up. But either way, it's typically pain. That's what we're feeling.
Mhm.
We're hiding it. We're trying to manage it.
Mhm.
We're just hurt. And so understanding that you took yourself through this process, remembering your experiences, and I'm not sure if
Right.
this is all of your experiences, this is just some, but the fact that you took yourself through this, remembering the experiences, I mean, how have you been able to manage, excuse me, the triggers that sometimes come from going back in the past and thinking about these things that happened to you?
Well, it did. It triggered it a little bit as I
Yeah.
was writing it. And I did have some tears, in a couple of the chapters. Once, when I was very, very much into detail, it triggered it a little bit. But I made it through it, because I feel like, I have healed from that, but it was just that little piece that was probably still there,
Yeah.
because of what I had to write and everything, and just remembering, and how much I wanted this to tell somebody. I wanted to tell my sister so bad, because we shared a room, and I wanted to tell her so bad. I just wanted her to hold me and hug me.
Mhm.
So yeah, that trigger was, it still was a little bit there. And it took me until I was like in my 20s to get over it, like
Mhm.
really, really get, over it. But yeah, it was a trigger writing this, but
Yeah.
I made it through it, and because I wanted to help someone else. I
Right,
really
right.
did. Yeah.
Right. And that's why I say we can truly appreciate it because you know, I tell my story at times and pieces of it. I've never told it all. And I
Mm-hmm.
tell my story at times and there are moments that I'm reminded of certain things that I had suppressed, you know, and it
Mm-hmm.
comes back and of course, you know, I have to go into talk therapy and talk it through and work and
Mm-hmm.
process it through, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
if you know, if you could, I mean, is there, you know, you know, I don't know how many chapters in the book because I have yet to get
Mm-hmm.
it. You know, I know we're
Mm-hmm.
right around the corner from each other, so I got to pick it up.
Yeah.
But is there a particular, you know, memory or situation that you want to share that may help someone? Just a side note, I want those that are listening to better understand signs. You know, that's something, you know, we've talked about from
Mm-hmm.
abusive relationships. And, you know, we got to understand the signs because it's not always, you know, loud and bright and in your face.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of covert activity that go on, especially as children. Um, and I think sometimes parents, if they're not overlooking it, they just don't see it
Mm-hmm.
because they're not aware of the signs. So if
Right.
there is, you know, maybe, you know, a memory that you have or something that you wrote in that book that you care to share for someone that's listening that may not understand the science, may not realize that there is a grooming process that could be
Mm-hmm.
happening right now in
Mm-hmm.
their home. If there is,
Right.
could you just share that with
Right.
us?
I would say for me, it's like you said that your parents didn't know what to look for, you know, and I don't think my parents did. They didn't know what to look for. And with the signs for me, it was like that person, they would just, you know, be just
Mhm.
staring at me like I was a piece of meat or something, and you know, was making me very, very uncomfortable. And even, you know, just touching me the wrong way, like on my legs, or you know, just on my bottom, just touching me in the wrong way. So, but I didn't know if that was wrong, you know, because
Yeah,
nobody ever said, you know, if you get touched in this way, this is not this correct, you know.
yeah, yeah,
So I didn't hear that, you know, from my parents. I didn't hear that, you know, my sisters maybe, but I know I didn't, you know, so I didn't know if this was like the right thing. Was this supposed to happen? You know, was this
right.
person supposed to do this? You know, I just didn't know. So, you know, this heat has made me very, very uncomfortable, especially with the looks and the stares.
Yeah, yeah,
That was the thing for me. Like, and I felt like I was doing something wrong, you know,
mhm,
like, what am I doing wrong to make this person stare at me like this? You know, am I doing something wrong? So that was always my question, like, am I doing something wrong to deserve all this? But now I know I didn't, but that was the
yeah,
question all the time, like, am I deserving of this? What did I do? You know?
right, right.
Yeah.
So can I ask you, did you ever tell, well, and well, first of all, let me find out. Let me start with what age did these assaults take place, and over
It was
what span?
eight
Okay,
years
so 8
old.
years old.
I was eight. When I was eight, it was just a touchy feely thing. But
Mhm.
when I turned nine, it became of a sexual thing until about, I think I was either 12 or 13 that it ended.
Mhm.
So all those years, it was this sex, you
Yeah,
know, and very painful. Um, I can't say, you know, if I told or not, because that's in the second book, the second part two of the book. So I don't
mhm,
want to disclose that yet. But
yeah,
yeah, it was rough. It was a rough thing to go through, you know, after the touchy feely thing,
yeah,
just being like a piece of meat. You just felt like a piece of meat, and you just couldn't understand why this was happening to you. Like I said, you thought I thought I just did something wrong. And then I'm saying, you know, this person telling me that they love me. So is this what love is? This is
yeah,
this what love is supposed to look like and feel like? Like, okay. I mean,
Yeah.
but I would cry and just I wanted my mom so bad. I just wanted to every time I just screamed for my mom, and he would just put his hand over my mouth, as I'm screaming for my mom. My mama, please help me, And yeah, it was very rough to go through for
Yeah.
all those years.
Yeah. 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 Again, my heart goes out to you. I went through my own set of
Mhm,
experiences,
mhm,
and my situation I told. And
mhm,
unfortunately, my mother did nothing to help,
mhm,
um, and instead blamed me for what was happening. And so, after maybe a couple times of telling and then being blamed, I learned not to tell anymore, um,
mhm,
because it was, it meant nothing, or my word wasn't valued. I wasn't believed. um I doubted my reality. Now I say that because I want those that are listening to understand how this then shows up later on in life as adults. um because this was a very traumatic experience, and it was ongoing trauma, and it showed up later in life,
mhm,
questioning my own word, questioning my experiences, questioning my reality, figure no one's going to hear me anyway. No matter what I do, it's not going to make a difference, and the people that love me will not really protect me. So that was the message that I received as a child from that
mhm,
traumatic experience. And so I just want the parents and those that are listening that have children, especially small, you know, be mindful of when you invalidate them and what they're saying to you, because later in life it's going to
mhm,
show back up, and it really does more damage than good. So be very, very careful when your children come and tell you. I
mhm.
say create a safe space for children to talk.
Correct.
And my mother chose men over me, and
Mhm,
she chose, I mean, it didn't matter. um there's some issues that she had within herself, but when I was raped, she denied me of the rape.
mhm,
When I was assaulted, she said it was my own fault. So that was difficult as growing into my womanhood and
mhm,
realizing that some men will take what's not theirs. um so so this is why I wanted to kind of unpack that a little bit for you,
mhm,
because everyone's experience is different, but it's
mhm.
pain nonetheless.
Right.
So, you being that young, I want to jump into adulthood, and I want to
Mhm.
ask you, have you made the connection? Do you see anything that you went through then had shown up in how you respond or how you have maneuvered through life later on?
Yes. It like when I got married, it was even hard to be intimate with my husband.
Mhm.
So because I would think back on what had happened, and even a certain way he would feel a part of my body would like this. I just didn't want him to do it because it reminded me of that person and everything. So yeah, it went into my marriage, and I had to finally share with my husband that this is why I'm pushing away, because I didn't want him to think maybe I was out here cheating on him or something like that. And I just didn't desire him. So I had to come to him and tell him, what had happened to me as a little girl. And this is what I'm feeling now. And even when we were dating, we were intimate when we were dating, and the same thing when we were dating. So, and it got like worse when I got married. So I had to share with him like why I was just pushing so much away, and I didn't want it, and it just felt so nasty and gritty to me.
Mhm.
So and he understood. He
That's
said,
good.
wow, I didn't know you went through that. Yeah, I mean, just let me know, if I'm hurting you, if I'm touching you the wrong way, because I want you to be comfortable in this, and just know that I'm not that person. I'm not there to hurt you in a sexual way or anything. So if you don't desire it, I'm fine with that. I just want you to be comfortable. He was very understanding. And once, we went through the process or whatever, it became easier because he made it easier, because by him understanding and working with me. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so yes, going in adulthood for that part, yeah. That
Yeah. 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 So tell me a little bit more about the book. So if we get the book, what can
Mhm.
we expect to read, to learn?
Mhm. You're
Because
gonna you're
I
gonna
know
read a
you
whole
have
lot of
I
stuff.
know you have another book coming out. And so there's
Yeah.
so many questions I have, but I'm sure that they're going to be in part two. But
Probably.
what can we expect? And yeah.
Um, well, so a lot of people who didn't expect to see what was in there already, like so much detail.
Yeah.
I went into very much detail what happened, how he did it, when he did it, where he did it. I went into detail, and I mean that's the biggest part that I get from the readers. They just said, I commend you on how you just was transparent and how you just let it flow and you didn't hold nothing back. You told everything and how it happened, when it
Yeah.
happened, and what he did. And I think that's so brave of you. And so that's what I get. Just the detail of the book. Um, a lot. That's what they can expect. Like it goes into very much really great detail of what had happened, and I
Oh,
give them places they could call if that's
mhm.
happening to them or anyone in their family or anything, just information about sexual abuse. I give that also.
Yeah. So in your book, did you happen to disclose who this person was? And
No,
was this person someone that's
no,
close
I didn't
to the family?
disclose. Yes, it was someone close to the family. I didn't disclose that person. No,
Okay.
no.
All right. So have you received any flack from your family or anyone that was around you during that time for talking
Mm,
about this now?
not at all.
That
Not
is
yet.
so good. No, it's very
No.
good to have a supportive circle. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of it now is because we better understand what
Mhm.
goes on,
Mhm. Mhm.
you
And
know?
I wanted to share it, like I said, because even when we were talking the other night in the work environment, you see so much of that, and the I don't want to say this the wrong way, like you hear a lot of that in the work environment.
Mhm,
Especially for kids,
mhm.
and you just want to help them. Your heart goes out to them. So that's why I
Yeah,
did the book too, so parents can say like, hey, yeah, I better be asking my kids, are they being touched in the wrong way?
yeah,
Like this is a true story, and I have to know if my kids are being touched that way. So that's
yeah.
why I wanted it too, so the parents can just ask, are you being touched in the wrong way?
Right,
Like it's,
right, right.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I said, we should create safe spaces for our children to talk
Mhm.
about um, behaviors, right? Inappropriate behaviors, and we have to teach them what inappropriate is.
Mhm.
There's a grooming process that goes on. Sure, there's some people that wait for, an opportunity and just go all in, but
Mhm.
those that, I see a lot of cases for those that are, the perpetrators are close to home. They just groom the
Mhm.
children and they look
Right.
for a weak link. Um,
Mhm.
and again, from my own personal experience, my mother swore that I was fast and loose, and it
Mhm.
wasn't any of that. My personality is
Yeah.
just I'm a tomboy, and I'm just I'm all the way live all the time. That is who I am as an adult, right? But
Mhm.
they misinterpreted my behavior, as fast. And that's something
Mhm.
that I think that's a term that we use in the Black community quite frequently. We used to anyway, especially when I was growing up. And girls, Black girls were looked at as being fast. And I
Mhm.
was titled that. I didn't even know anything about sexuality when I was hearing that from my mother. But what it did was the frequent boyfriends that she had around and those that were predators, they saw an opportunity to, to make something happen with the fast girl.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
in fact, I wasn't fast, and they just, they knew that if I told, she wouldn't believe it because her perception of me is that I'm fast. And so
Mhm.
it created the perfect storm for predators, and she knew how to pick predators, which is really interesting. Her choice
Mhm.
in men,
Right.
her,
Mhm.
her choice in men were very it's very suspect now when I look back, because a
Mhm.
few of them took her up on the title that she gave me. And it wasn't just me. There were several girls in my community that were victimized by mom's boyfriend, mom's new
Mhm.
husband, the
Wow.
guy down the street, the drug dealer up the block,
Mhm.
the uncle. I mean, they just were, the friend's
Mhm.
brother. And I know I can go on and on and on, and I know someone's listened to this. They can likely
Mhm.
relate because this is just facts. And
Mhm.
it's not that we're asking for it, it's because they're taking it. And
Mhm.
sometimes parents, we set our kids up by saying the
Right.
wrong thing, by having the wrong
Mhm.
people around, by not being mindful. And also, lastly, I will say, and then I'll let you interject because you could may have some more to add,
Mhm.
but by um, not recognizing the behavior of your child. When that person comes around, you forcing them to go hug Uncle so and then make sure you go hug them and kiss them on it, but not realizing the behavior. The children pull back, they're avoiding them, they aren't comfortable, they're leaving the room, or they're overly expressive around them. So the signs are there, but sometimes we don't pay attention. And I know for
Mhm.
sure the signs were there with me. There were
Mhm.
the flags were screaming. I was acting out. I was doing all kinds of things, and this is
Mhm.
after the fact of me telling and and kind of disclosing. But
Mhm.
it was just ignored. I do not want adults to ignore these signs. I really
Mhm.
do not. I mean, obviously, we cannot change the predator, right? The
Right.
rapist, we can't change them. We can't
Mhm.
change them. We can only speak up when it happens.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
as parents or caretakers, we can listen to those around us that are telling us and screaming that something's not right, even if they're not saying it out of their mouth.
Mhm.
So you can talk about the
Yeah.
behavior that you yourself have seen, and maybe even you yourself had as a kid, if you would.
Mhm. Um, what I want to share in the a little piece of the book is when he took me to a place, looked like we were in a like a cornfield or something. I think we were in a cornfield, and it was like he backed the car up into the cornfield, like the beginning of the cornfield. And I just couldn't understand, why are you taking me here? Why are you taking me to a cornfield? Like, what are we gonna do here? And it's dark, so I can't, really see my surroundings, but I knew we were in a cornfield. And I said, oh my gosh, it's getting ready to happen again. And I just was just the tears just start running down my face. It's getting ready to happen again. Why does he keep doing this to me? Why does he keep doing this to me? And then, he would just lay that seat back and he would just take off my panties all the way off. So, there wouldn't be any evidence or any, semen, blood, anything. And just this totally just rape me. And I would be so sore, and when I get home it was just like even feeling it as a little girl, just wanting him to get off me, his smell. everything. I just wanted it all for me. And he just with this go for it. And I'm just screaming for my mom. And I say, I just want to run. You know, if I ran, I didn't know where I was going because it was so pitch dark.
Mhm.
And every time I would just scream for my mom, and he would just cover my mouth and just ask me, do you love me? Do you love me? Does it feel good? Are you coming? What's coming? I'm only 9. I don't know what that
Mhm.
means. You
Mhm.
know, I'm just like, it was just amazing to me, like how a adult person can do hurt a child like myself. Like you took, it felt like he just took my childhood away, because from 8 to 12 or 13, I was supposed to be playing, having fun.
Yeah.
I couldn't even do none of that because, you know, when he came around, it was like, I'm scared to death. You know, is he going to take me somewhere? You know, I mean, it was just all kinds of stuff running through my mind and everything. And I just wanted to just scream that night. I just wanted to just run from him. And I just didn't know where, if I can get out the car, where am I run to? I don't know where I'm at. I know I'm in a cornfield somewhere,
Yeah.
you know, and yeah, he made me just do some nasty stuff that, you
Yeah.
know, just
Yeah.
so, you know, but I just thank God that I made it through that. And I used to always say, you know, God is going to get you. I didn't have a relationship with God then, but I knew that there was a God. And I
Mhm.
kept saying every time he got finished doing what he was doing, God is going to get you for doing this to me, for to a little girl, you know. And every time I went home, you know, I would take a bath and I would just want to tell my sister.
Mhm.
I would look at her over there in that bed, and I would just want to tell her, just wake her up and just tell
Mhm.
her, you know, I just wanted to tell her, like, please help me, sister, please help
Mhm.
me,
Mhm.
you know. And it was rough, but like I said, I just thank God that I made it through that.
Yeah.
I made it through, and
Yeah.
I didn't get pregnant or something like that. What if I would
Yeah.
have got pregnant, you know, at that age, 10, 11, 12, 12, you know, 13. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that I got through that. So,
I am so glad you got through it too, Nikki. I have to ask, I know you said it ended around 12, 13.
mhm.
And I know you may put this in the book, you may not be able to disclose. How did it finally end? I'm if this is something
um,
that I gotta wait for, but
no, what, yeah, well, it's in the book. It's in the
okay,
book, you know.
okay,
He did, that person did pass away.
okay, okay.
So yeah, so I was
Yeah.
very happy about it. I know I'm
I
not supposed to
understand.
be,
I
but
do.
I was happy, like no more. I'm free. It felt like a freedom, you know. So
Yeah.
that's how it ended, like, because I just felt like if that person would have, you know, lived on, I probably would have been going through it in my teen years also, you know. So yeah,
Yeah.
that person passed away, and I was so glad. Um,
Good, 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 good. I mean, I don't mean to say it that way, but unless
right,
you've been victimized, you would probably not understand
right,
why we say that.
yeah, because I
Um,
had to go to counseling and everything, and I did that, you know, in my 20s also. You know, when I got married, I had to go to counseling. Um, and my counselor took me back to the spots, you know, and I put this in my book. She took me back to the places where everything happened, and she asked me, well, how did you feel right here when that was happening? How did you feel when he was saying what he was feeling? So I had to relive that again with her to get my healing.
yeah,
And then she had me, when we got back to the office, she had me just write out everything that I was feeling, and just put it in like a letter. And once I got everything gathered, she said, now I want you to write a letter to that person. And this is everything you were feeling, and every spot that you were feeling this in, that person knows that that's what they did to you. And once you do that, I'm gonna read the letter like I'm that person, and then we're gonna destroy this letter, and that's gonna be the end of that. And
Mhm.
and it really truly was. She prayed with me because she was a Christian counselor.
Yeah.
She prayed with me, and I tell you, I did. I felt a weight just leave me,
Mhm.
just like at the funeral. It was just like all these weights were just releasing from me. So yeah, I had to relive it
Um,
all over with
oh,
her.
girlfriend. So I heard you say at the funeral, so I'm assuming it's someone you had to actually attend their funeral too.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've I've talked about this before, how we've had to stand by the abuser's side, um, how we've had to attend certain functions, knowing that this person has abused or done us wrong, right? And whatever the type of abuse it is. And again, these are the traumas that I believe that we carry. We carry
Hmm.
them because I've seen a few of my abusers leave here. I've seen a few of them
Hmm.
go to prison. I've had to sit in spaces with them as adults. Um, and we carry this, and
Hmm.
it's hard sometimes. Now, you know, your counselor took you back to the spot, which is
Hmm.
is powerful in itself.
Hmm.
Um, my desire was to confront a few of those that were living, and I did,
Hmm.
and I was able
Hmm.
to, um, because when I was 12, 11, 12, 13, 14, I didn't have the voice, but
Hmm.
God gave me a voice now. Y'all see, I don't.
Hmm.
Oh Lord. So, you know, and whenever we were dealing with the Me Too movement, people were saying things like, why now? Why now? Why did it come out now? Oh my God, Nikki, it was burning me alive because it was just a few years before the Me Too movement that I confronted one of my last abusers. Um,
Right.
but imagine if I would have thought about why now, I wouldn't have had the freedom once I confronted him, once I told him, I know what you did to me, and I know why these things happened to me because of what you were doing to me. Imagine had I not been able to do that. You know what I
Right.
mean? And really, really believe in the why now type of mindset. Why now? And I'm sure maybe, some people may read your book or hear this testimony and be like, well, why should wait till now? Um,
Hmm.
I don't know about you, but I did it when the time was right.
Right.
And I did it when
Right.
no one else could control the narrative. Um,
Right. Right.
had someone believed me when I was 12, it would have been then. But
Hmm.
because they didn't believe me, I had to wait until I controlled my own voice.
Hmm.
And it's not easy to talk about sexual assault and abuse and rape after
Hmm.
it's happened X amount of years. It's not easy.
Hmm.
But when we do find the power to do so, we have these types of results where we are empowered by our
Hmm.
testimony and we're empowering others. So
Hmm.
if someone asks you why now, right? And knowing you had to go to that
Hmm.
funeral, all this is behind you now. Why now, Nikki? Why now do you want to talk about it?
Because I think God is still working in me through healing, through hurt. I really do think God is he's just really truly working through me and getting me just, free from all this hurt and everything that I've been through. I think he's just healing, still healing these things, that I thought maybe was gone. Like I said, I still had a little inkling when I was writing it. I was crying because
Yeah.
that little girl is still in there. She still hurts a little bit. So I think it's a healing process for me too, that God allowed me to do this book, because I was very prayerful, because I was scared. Like, should I put it out? Like, God, you got to let me know when the time is right. And just by talking to people, and they're telling me these stories about sexual abuse and everything, so it just came at that time. And I'm saying, God, this must be the time, because why these women coming to me telling me about their experiences, about people in their families, or a cousin coming to them and doing these things to them? Why are they telling me this now? And then, I had a friend, I shared this with her before the book writing the book. And she said, you ought to write a book, about this, because people need to hear these kinds of stories and everything. So that's why I did it now, because I really do believe God is doing a work in my life to get me where he needs me to be. And he can't get me there until I'm healed of all these situations that sometimes I have put my own self through.
Yeah.
And then, sometimes I didn't. So he's just trying to get me in this healing process. So, books 4 and 5 is part of the healing
Yeah.
process again. So, yeah, and book 5 is going to be a good book too, because it's a mistake that I made of my own self. But I just think, shh, don't tell. This was the time that God wanted me to do it, because I've talked to so many ladies, just and they would cry their eyes out, and it's like God is just bringing these people to me, like, and it's just amazing what he's doing, like how he's bringing these ladies to me to talk and just to listen. They just want somebody to listen to them.
Yeah.
And my heart is so compassionate toward like everybody. And I just say, God, I thank you for this heart, because I just have a heart that's is so passionate for people and want to love on them and hug them. And just, it's like I feel their pain. I feel their pain, So I think, this is why now.
Yeah.
This is why now.
And you know what? That makes perfect sense. And I believe that, much like yourself, I know I feel the pain of others.
Mhm.
And excuse me, I used to question, why did I have to go through so many things?
Yes.
Why did I have to
Yes.
have so many, like, God, I don't need another list,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, I feel you.
Yeah, I don't need another. I've learned. I mean,
Oh my
I got
gosh.
PhDs in trauma. I don't need nothing else.
Woo,
But
girl.
then I
Yes.
realized that I'm a survivor, and
Yeah.
and 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 obviously God created me to handle a lot of it, because if not, I would have succumbed
Mhm.
to some of the
Right.
traumatic experiences that I've had. But more so, I've learned that um, I meet people along the way
Mm.
that are going through the very thing that
Mhm.
I overcame.
Right.
And there's where I witness, and and I I don't look like what I've been through, which is
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
but I'm like, no, I went through that. I think sometimes they think I'm embellishing the stories, and I'm like, I'm really not, like,
No.
I wish I could make it up. I wish I could make up the fact that, my mother put me into 2 different institutions so that she could get a welfare check. I wish I could make
Mm.
up that when I
Mhm.
was, sleeping in my bed, I had, law enforcement come and drag me out of the bed as a kid and take me away to a strange
Mm.
place and say, you're going to be here for 45 days. And my mother just sit and watched and said, goodbye. I wish I
Wow.
could, be making it
Mhm.
up that,
Right.
15, and the judge released me from custody and said, there's nothing wrong with you. This is
Mm.
her mother should be in here. Let this child go. And I became an emancipated minor. I mean, I wish I could make all that up.
Mhm.
I can't. These things happen.
Mhm.
And,
Mhm.
I survived it, from abuse, from rape, from physical abuse, from being hungry, not
Right.
having food to eat, and not because we didn't
Wow.
have it, but because my mother just
Right.
chose not to feed me. She wanted to feed the dog and her
Wow.
boyfriend. I mean, these are facts.
Wow.
These aren't things that I make up. These are actual facts. I can't tell you how many
Mhm.
days I had to endure being hungry and
Mm.
just and watching her feed her boyfriend plates of food, and
Mm.
I couldn't even have
Wow.
any. These are stories I tell, and
Wow.
thank God I still have people that are living witnesses.
Mhm.
Like my one of my like
Right.
godmothers out in North Carolina. Her name is Elaine Crosby, and sometimes you see her on my Facebook page. But if it wasn't for people like her and people like
Mhm.
my godmom, Mom Anders, then I would have never survived. These people were living witnesses. They saw what was going on. Um, and
Mhm.
I used to ask God why? But then
Mhm.
I've met a lot of young girls that are going through things and have gone through things even worse than what I've gone through. And they will
Mm-hmm.
confide in me and ask for help and guidance and just a person to listen to them with empathy in my heart. And so,
Mm-hmm.
Nikki, I know why now we go through these things. It doesn't mean we want it. It doesn't mean it's okay. It
Right.
means
Right.
that we're God is going to use us as an instrument to deliver someone.
Correct.
This is ongoing. It doesn't stop with us.
Yes.
We're not the
Yes.
unicorn. So
Right.
thank you for writing this book. And
You're welcome.
I want more of these conversations to be held on Sunday nights around a dinner table thereafter when people are calm and they're able
Mm-hmm.
to receive because this is real stuff. These are not
Mm-hmm.
comfortable conversations. It's not
No.
comfortable knowing that this woman, as beautiful as she is, has been sexually assaulted or abused or molested by a loved one, right? It's not a comfortable conversation, but it's a real conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for sharing um,
You're
this
welcome.
this part of you. I really, really appreciate that. So is there anything that you want to leave with the viewers, with the listeners? This will be on the podcast probably in a couple of days. You'll be able to
Okay.
hear just the audio, but is there anything that you want to leave with those that may stumble across this later?
Yeah, I would just say, if you have kids or nieces, nephews, and everything, I would just ask, that you would just have a talk with them and just ask if anybody is messing with them in the wrong way or touching them inappropriately. Please tell, don't be afraid to tell. you know um you could be comfortable talking with me. I'm your aunt, I'm your mom, I'm your dad, whatever you say. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to say it's your fault or anything. I just want you to know that you can trust me with anything that you have to say. So I would just ask that the parents would just do that with their kids. Just make sure nobody is touching them inappropriately. Nobody's telling them, not to tell, and that's it, because my heart just goes out to, what I've already heard from other people. And um, that's what I would just, say to them, just please be mindful to your kids. And when they tell you things, believe
Yeah.
them, because I was just too scared to tell, because I didn't know what was going to happen to me. Are you going to kill me? Are you going to beat me up? What you going to do? Take me somewhere and just drop me somewhere, and I don't know where I'm at and can't get back to my mom, so I was just totally scared, scared. And I don't want other children to feel that way. So I would leave that.
Okay.
And if they want to, get the book, they can go to Amazon. It's on Amazon. But And I just thank those who have already bought the book. Thank you so much for your support. It means a lot. Thank you for your prayers and your encouragement. I just want to give a shout out to my mentor, Mark Edwards. He started this thing off. He showed me how to do the books, and um, just everybody who's ever helped me with the book. I would just want all three of the books. I just want to say thank you to them, because I wanted to for so long write a book about things going on in my life, but I just didn't know how to until God hooked me up with Mr. Edwards, and who lives in New York. So I just thank you everybody for their love and support. I thank God for my sisters who are always supportive, and my sons and my dad. So I just thank them, especially my middle sister, Trey. She is just such a wonderful sister. Both of my sisters are wonderful, but Trey and I, we have always had a close bond. And I just thank God that, I was blessed with wonderful sisters, and especially Trey. She never judges me, when I make wrong decisions, and, she never judges. And that's wonderful that I can have a sister that I could go to and just talk to her, and she won't judge me or anything. Because um, it's wonderful to have a sister like that.
Mm.
So I just thank you too, Queenie, for always helping me out, and getting me out there, and just being a wonderful person.
Thank you.
And even in our other conversations that we have, I thank you so much for just being there. You are a blessing to the kingdom of God, and you're just a blessing to women,
Oh, thank you.
because I tell you, you're wonderful.
Well,
And
thank
I
you.
thank God for you.
Thank you so much. Women, I love you. I love you. And we go through so much. And I'm just not a believer that Black women can't be there for each other. I don't believe that, because I have met some beautiful brown and Black sisters that lift each other up in times of need, trauma. I mean, we are there. And I am my sister's keeper. So I will always do my best to be here for you. And I appreciate you. I do. I appreciate you. And I know the struggle sometimes that we go through.
Yeah.
So, so you
Yeah.
are not alone in it. So so before we go, I want to make sure that for those that are listening, a lot of the stats that I read off earlier, if you had listened to the live, came off of the rain.org website. I've been in a couple of RAIN's trainings, and that's RAINN.org. So if you get a moment, go and check out the organization. Donate to the organization, because they're here to help victims of sexual assault and abuse. And I'm looking at the website now, and I want to make sure that I leave the National Sexual Assault Hotline number. And it's simple: 800-656-HOPE. That's 800-656-HOPE. Um, I leave that because, Nikki and I both have shared that sometimes people don't listen, right? Sometimes we don't have anyone to tell it to. So any
Right.
young person that stumbles across this, it's okay if you don't tell it to someone that's right there in your family, because sometimes you don't feel like you can trust them. I understand. Then tell the stranger that's on the other end of that phone, if you call them, go to the website, send them an email, drop me a message in my inbox on Facebook or IG. I'm not a certified counselor, but I will get you the information that you need to find help, and to get a better understanding as to what you may be going through. So, um, Nikki, is there anything else you want to leave? Like your like, how can people find you? And you did say you can get the book on Amazon, but you may want to tell the name of that book again. Again, in
No.
the other studio, I was able to put all this up, so
Mhm.
Zoom need to get it together, but I can't. I can do it in my other
Mhm.
studio, but not in the Zoom.
Mhm. Well, I'm on Facebook as Nikki Morton, Morton. Instagram is more4568. And the book is called Shh Don't Tell. And again, it's
Okay.
available on Amazon. It should be on Barnes and Noble also,
Okay.
and in Walmart
Oh, and in
online.
Walmart.
Yeah. And in
Okay.
Walmart. All my books are, well, the second and third book, Walmart, Barnes and Noble, and Amazon.
Okay, so y'all heard that. There's you should be able to find this book. If you happen to get stuck, just shoot me a message in my DM, and I'll make sure you get the links for it. We'll make sure that we share the links, Nikki, if that's okay. We'll share that on the
Sure.
page. Um,
Mhm.
Definitely get the book, and it's, be forewarned. It may trigger you, or it may even open your eyes to things that you don't realize that's, is happening around you. Um, but whatever it is, we hope that it's a blessing. It's a tool that is
Right.
going to save someone's life. and help to empower those that need to be empowered. So Nikki, thank you so much for sitting with me
Thank
tonight.
you.
I know
Thank
we had
you.
some technical difficulties.
Yes, girl. I
But
told Queenie I'm gonna have to take me a computer class or something.
we made it through. Thank God we
Yeah,
made it through.
yes, yes.
So, Nikki, I want you to hold tight. Let's say
Okay,
goodnight to our Facebook family that are tuning
okay,
in. So, to the
okay.
Facebook family, thank you again.
Yes,
This
thank you,
will be on,
Facebook.
yeah, this will be on YouTube in a little bit. I will definitely upload it to YouTube and to my IG family if you happen to run across it because you came over to Facebook. Thank you for joining us. And Nikki, I hope to see you again soon. Um,
Okay.
and keep those books coming, honey. You know, I told you
Oh
last
yeah.
time, I don't know how you do it. I just don't have the
Yeah.
time and all that I need to be writing, girl.
Well, I have a lot of time now, so I'm working on two at the same time.
Oh, I
So
know you told me that, girl. My ADHD
yeah.
just don't allow it. I can start something over here and child, and I'm going to, oh, geez,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go get me some medicine, child, so I can calm down and focus. I can't focus. But no, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
sharing and spending time with me tonight. So hold tight. Facebook
Okay.
family, thank you again for coming back with us again. And I have some new podcasts dropping. Q's views are dropping this week and next week. I've been answering my email bag and the DMs that I get. I've been answering them. Finally, I'm starting to put them on podcasts. So you'll be able to check out the Relationship Zone, the podcast, and you'll be able to get the answers to the questions. I've been talking about dating. I've been talking about front end, what did I say, front load dating or something like that. Someone talked to me about, spending time with a person and they just, they front loading them on the week with all their time and then on the weekend they disappear. So I've answered that question. My thoughts on that, my thoughts on online dating, my thoughts on people that lacks empathy. So yeah, so check it out tomorrow, Monday, and then the next Monday. I've answered quite a few questions. So if you're one of the ones that sent their questions in, then please go to the podcast and you will be able to get my responses to those questions. And thank you again for joining us tonight. And make sure that you check out the website, rainn.org. If you have any questions or want to get any more stats on sexual assault, here in America or even worldwide, check out that site. It's credible and it has some very good information. So I'm going to stop this stream. Facebook, I'm out. And I am going to stop our record.